Hello everyone and welcome in to this Madman's library. That's right, we're going to be taking another look at one of the books off of my shelves and give it an overview, as it were, to see what it contains, what the subject matter is, how it's laid out, that kind of thing. Now, this is actually what I'm dubbing the final episode of season 1 of the Madman's episode. We're going by sort of British seasons here, where it's 6 episodes, and then you've got to wait for the next lot. So here we are, episode 6, and what can I say but Phantasmagoria, Phantasmagoria, Phantasmagoria. That's today's book, Brereton's Phantasmagoria, by Terry Brereton, as it were, a compendium of myths, monsters and legends. As it further goes on to describe itself, a cornucopia of mythical places, people, beings and beasts. And I don't think it oversells itself with that description. What you've just had there is the title, the subtitle, and part of the blurb off the back. There's a bit more where it goes on to talk about Atlantis and theories and stuff like that. But this is the book, just a big old book of magic, essentially. You open it up to the inside, let's do that and sort of see what it's got on offer. The first thing it gives you in the contents page is you find out how it's laid out. You have mysterious, magical and weird people in chapter 1, the mythical monsters, ghosts and things that go bump in the night, chapter 2. Chapter 3, magical places of legend and reality. Chapter 4, flying monsters, mysteries, odd happenings, strange sightings and legends. Chapter 5, mysteries of the deep. Chapter 6, strange artifacts, buildings, maps and writings. Chapter 7, tales of secret treasure. And finally, Chapter 8, the reality of legends and myths, which is quite a good offering if you ask me. Plus, if I've edited this right, you should be seeing these contents pages right now, and you'll see just the absolute wonderful art that's already on display. That's a sort of foreshadow of what we're going to get later on in this book as we read through it. Now, this book is absolutely chock full of interesting stories, facts and profiles, and it's just exactly the kind of thing I sort of expected when I picked up Tobin's Spirit Guide. If you haven't seen that episode yet, go and have a read of that. But yeah, that's what we got here. I mean, there's even a part of a chapter dedicated to ghosts, and that gives much more, I feel, or at least more overall than Tobin's Spirit Guide in terms of detail and beings. And it sort of does the same with everything else in this. You get anything from maybe a quarter of a page to 2 or 3 pages, depending on how much information there is, and it's all just absolutely wonderfully written. I find myself playing a little bit of a game here and there called Is It in the Phantasmagoria, in which when something weird comes up in conversation, and this being me, the Madman of the Madman's library, weird things come up in conversation quite often, and I make note of the topic until I've got hold of my copy of the Phantasmagoria, and I crack it open and I just see if it's in there. And it's a bit hit or miss. I'm often surprised. Sometimes things I don't think are going to be in there are in there. Sometimes things I'm sure are going to be in there aren't. And sometimes things that I find that I think are going to be in there that are in there, they'll give me a different perspective on, or different kinds of information. For example, once we brought up the pyramids, and everyone's aware of the pyramids in ancient Egypt, or they were built in ancient Egypt, still in modern Egypt. But the book, if memory serves, goes on to talk about pyramids in other places, like the mysterious pyramids of China. I believe it has been a little while, and things like that, or topics such as the safest name to have on the seas, about at least 3 separate men with the same name in different time periods who all survived nautical disasters, whereas many others on the same boats didn't. And that is the Phantasmagoria. It really is a cornucopia of the weird and the wonderful. And honestly, that I think is its biggest flaw. Well, it's not necessarily a flaw, but it's caused me the biggest problem, because this was one of the earliest additions to my little library once I started it up, and it was just so good. It set the bar, and then I ended up with other books which have ranged in quality, if you may have seen, but I don't think any of them quite lived up to this. Some of them didn't actually try. They were entirely different kinds of books, or going for an entirely different style, but this was exactly what I wanted, something where I could see it on this shelf, pull it out, be mesmerised by the cover, crack it open to any page and just be like, what can I learn about today? Or as I say, I discuss something I want to know a bit more about and say, is it in the Phantasmagoria? Crack it open, have I discussed the Babylonian devil traps or devil traps? And maybe I have, maybe we're chatting about the show Supernatural, because I've been watching that recently. It's like, devil traps, oh here's the thing, I can learn about real life lore of devil traps. It's in there, and it's fantastic. And then you put it back on the shelf until the next time you need it, and it's a wonderful hardback design with its eye-catching cover of weird art, wonderful colour scheme, that black and pale yellow and orange, and absolutely lovely font. And that is everything I've wanted in a book, is Brereton's Phantasmagoria, so I'm very happy with this one. And you should, throughout this video, have seen examples of what's on the pages, what it looks like, how much information you get, which I think is a fair amount, not too much, not too little, but just enough to be a cornucopia. So that's this episode of the Madman's Library, and this season I'm going to return Brereton's Phantasmagoria to its place on my shelves, and hopefully we'll be back for another season. As always, leave a comment and a like if you've got a book you think I should add to the library. Let me know if you've read Brereton's Phantasmagoria or any other works by Terry Brereton. Let me know as well, or if you'd like to see something particular in the second season, or a second season at all, let me know that also. But hopefully until next time, thank you for joining me in the library, and goodbye for now.